Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking about your truth. Now this is something that a lot of you might have to open your mind to. It was something that I was unfamiliar with before I started therapy. It's something that my therapist introduced to me, and although I'm not like a religious person, I find this to be a really effective approach to dealing with my anxiety, and it is something that I try to adopt and sort of amalgamate into my everyday life and routine. So when I say what is your truth, I mean sort of having a motto that you live your life by in regards to your anxiety. So something that you can tell yourself that makes you feel better. It does tend to be something philosophical, but as I'll explain, it can start at something quite basic, just to sort of get a feel for it, and then you can build on it or adapt it as you go. So I'll give some examples of things that I find effective. For the most part, when I first started trying to incorporate truths into my anxiety routine, I started with just constantly repeating and telling myself, you are safe, this is just the anxiety talking. That is literally taking it back to the most basic sort of saying that you can get to when it comes to anxiety, because it is true, anxiety is something irrational, and I can't actually remember if I've talked about this before in last year's methods to deal with anxiety video, but it's basically just the mantra that I repeat over and over and over again in my head when I'm feeling anxious. So if I'm in the car and I can feel a panic attack coming on, I sit and I just tell myself, you are safe, you know, this is irrational, you are safe, this is just the anxiety talking. And I repeat it and I repeat it. Sometimes I do actually mutter it under my breath if there's only like my mum or someone in the car. It wouldn't be something I'd recommend doing on like the bus, you might sound a little bit strange, but I just repeat it and repeat it until I start to believe it. When it comes to something more philosophical, the two truths that I live by when it comes to my anxiety are that I create everything. Now, when I say I create everything, I mean that I create the situation, I create my anxiety, and I choose to feel that way. Now, at first, when my therapist sort of was talking to me about this, I completely disagreed with it. I was like, you know, I don't create my anxiety, I don't choose to feel this way, and it made me angry. And I was saying, you know, I don't, why on earth would I choose to feel this way? But it's not necessarily saying that you want to be this way. It's just a way of taking control of the anxiety. For me, I have a lot of anxieties over things that I can't control. And so when I tell myself, you have control, you know, you chose this, it does actually make me feel better. Now, I'll give like some kind of example to a situation that you could apply it to, just so you kind of know what I mean. So say if I feel anxious standing on a train, I tell myself, using my truth, that I chose to get on this train. I wasn't forced to, I chose to get on it of my own free will. Therefore, I chose to feel anxious, and then I accept that. And then I feel like I'm in control. I don't feel like I've been forced into it. I don't start to feel the panic that I feel when I feel trapped. I just tell myself, I chose to get on this train, therefore I chose to feel this way, and I can get off the train at any time I want because I am in control. And through just repeating over and over that I chose this was my decision, it helps me to sort of just feel in control again, and that helps me to deal with how I'm feeling, and then gradually the panic just ebbs away. The second truth I live by is you have to have the bad days to appreciate the good days. Now, I know that that is incredibly cliche, but it is something that I found really useful to tell myself whenever I'm having a bad anxiety day. And this can also be used, you know, for depression or just in general when life gets you down. That is what I tell myself. And to be honest, it is probably the easiest to accept because it is so true. Like, it's something that you really do genuinely experience. So, sort of, say for example, if I went to the cinema one day with my friends, I had a massive panic attack, I felt sick throughout the entire film. Yes, I'm speaking from experience, and I just sort of don't tell anyone, and I sit there and I feel so anxious, and I come home and I'm so upset, and you know, I tell my parents, oh, I've had such a bad time, you know, it was awful, and I didn't enjoy any of it. Then the next time I go to the cinema, I don't have a panic attack. I sit through the film and don't feel sick. I don't have to rush to the toilet. I just in general have a really nice time. When I come home, I stop and I think like, wow, how different was that? Like, to be honest, there's nothing that special about going out to the cinema with your friends and having a nice time. I'm sure a lot of people all over the world do that. But because I can compare it to how bad it could have gone, i.e. how bad it has gone in the past, I have a whole new appreciation for how great that day was, you know, and I can compare it and think like, wow, although it was quite a simple thing to do, that felt amazing in comparison. And I think that that kind of thinking definitely gives you a sort of an appreciation for the smaller things in life. Like sometimes when I wake up, even if I don't feel, you know, super happy about what I have to do that day, if I don't wake up and have a panic attack, or I'm in floods of tears, or I'm paralysed by fear, then as far as I'm concerned, that's a great day. Like, something as simple as waking up, opening the curtains and seeing the sun shining, you know, I'm like, yeah, this is a good day, because it's not as bad as maybe 2 days ago when I was lying in bed having panic attack after panic attack, feeling sick and just crying, you know? And although they're quite extreme situations, you can still compare them, and it genuinely does give you a whole new outlook. That is all I'm going to talk about today. I kept this video a little bit shorter because I do feel like it is quite a complex issue, and it is probably something that you should talk about with someone who's a little bit more sort of experienced or qualified even, and to talk about it. So if you do see a counsellor or a therapist, I would definitely recommend bringing up the idea of having a truth and sort of a motto that you can live by, and sort of keep telling yourself whenever you feel anxious. So I hope that this has maybe inspired you to start thinking about some things that you can tell yourself when you feel anxious. Like I said, for me personally, it's about sort of appreciation and beating the depression side of anxiety and gaining control of the situation. So if you suffer from any of those sort of aspects of anxiety and depression, then I would definitely say have a think about the truths that I've talked about today and see if they work for you, and you know, if when you're feeling anxious you repeat them over and over, if it does actually help you. I hope it does, and I will leave some links in the description box below talking about this kind of thing, perhaps giving you a little bit more detail or explaining it slightly better, because I'm not sure if I did a very good job in this video. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed it and found it useful, and I will see you again soon. Bye!